One of the things that happens a lot of the time at a listing appointment, are you going to make statements or ask questions? So I strongly recommend you move towards a question-based listing presentation style appointment. And when we start to look at this, what I've discovered is if you know what information you want to gain, then the questions become very, very easy to ask. And the interesting thing is, in my listing critiques, when I observe an agent running and doing a listing appointment, quite often what I find is they're so focused on the next question to ask, they don't really tune in and listen to what the client's saying. And so obviously, in many, many cases, the next question becomes obvious to ask based on what the client is actually talking through and sharing. So I'm going to share with you a number of areas for you to have a look at. When you start to explore in these particular areas, you've got a much better understanding. Now, where is this at the listing appointment? This is prior to you presenting your plan, your strategy, your recommendations. So we want to make sure we firstly step into their shoes and understand what they're looking for. This is the power of question-based. So the first thing I want to have a look at is to understand a little bit more about the people and their situation. And in live workshops, I ask the question, well, what question could you ask around the people in the situation? You could simply say, tell me a little bit more about you. Okay, could you explain your situation in a little bit more detail? It's very, very simple. And quite obviously, you might ask one or two additional questions after that to really gain a great picture and a great understanding. The next thing you might want to find out is their motivation. What's your main motivation for selling? What's your reason for selling? Tell me around that. And where to from here? Where are you going to from here? These are very, very simple to ask, but you know what? So often they're not asked in the process of really understanding and stepping into the client's shoes. So what have we covered so far? People in their situation, their motivation, and where to from here. What are their plans from here? Then we can move into ideal timing. So what is the ideal time frame to get your property sold? What's the ideal time frame to be moved? When would you like the money ideally transferred into your bank account so you can go off and achieve those other things you've just shared with me and talked through? Really simple questions to ask, but you're clear on the information you want to gain. If you haven't found ideal timing based on the first question, you could ask another question to uncover that ideal timing. And from there, you want to find out a little bit more about their real estate experiences. Have you bought or sold recently? How were those experiences? What's been your best real estate experience? What's been your worst real estate experience? Tell me more about that and explore it, step into their shoes and really uncover and discover what it is that they're actually wanting to achieve. From there, we can start to say, well, in terms of taking your property to market, have you had any thoughts as to how you'd like to see your property marketed? And more importantly, have you got any preferences around method of sale? Now, once again, I've seen agents go in, shining white horse and say, you need to auction this property, blah, blah, blah. But you actually ask the question, have you got any real estate concerns? Yeah, we definitely don't want to auction. We've had a bad experience around that. Have you had any thoughts of how you'd like to see your property marketed? We definitely don't want to auction. We'd prefer to actually go with private treaty. Even if it's not going to get us as much, that's the way we feel in terms of safety. Now, you may be able to turn them around, but that's radically different than someone when you ask them, have you had any thoughts of how you'd like to see your property marketed? Well, I've seen the great auction you did down the road, and I think auction would be fantastic. I tend to agree with you. Let's move on from there. So it gives you the ability to be able to tune in to where the client's at. In terms of marketing preferences, I really like the way this property was marketed by you. I really like the way this is. And you really are stepping into their shoes, understanding what they're looking for. And once you've uncovered that, then you can talk about the agent criteria. What are they looking for from you as their agent? So I've seen this asked a couple of ways. What are you looking for from the agent you choose? Well, that doesn't sound like you. What are you actually looking for from me as your agent? And we're tuning in to really finding out what they are looking for. What are your expectations of me as your agent during the marketing and the sale of your particular property? Fantastic information. Once again, there might be a couple of tell me more about that and go into some additional information to find out truly what the client is looking for. And then finally, you can ask in terms of property features, when you bought the property, what really stood out to you? Or more importantly, have you made any upgrades to the property that you think we need to truly feature from a marketing point of view? Any hero shots or key aspects to make sure. And one of the things that we do with our properties is look for some of the invisible things in a property that we can make visible to increase the appeal of your particular property. Any of those particular points. Fantastic. Now, let's take this on board. If you had that information with every single listing appointment you went with, you would be far better to be able to present your strategy and dovetail it into what the client's looking for, or handle an objection or an issue proactively rather than reactively and deliver such a better strategy. And that better strategy makes it easy for the client to say, I'm ready to put you to work. So enjoy the discussion talking about these particular points. How well are you covering these at the moment? And by the way, if you're a new agent, you might want to develop just a nice little cheat sheet and have these points, not the questions, just the point you want to cover off on. Let me quickly run through them again. Number one, the people and their situation. Number two, motivation. Number three, where to from here? What are your plans from here? Number four, we want to identify your ideal time frame. Number five, your real estate experiences, concerns. Number six, any marketing or method preferences that you have. Number seven, your agent criteria. And number eight, property features. What are the key property features that have stood out to you that we need to feature from a marketing point of view? If you just had those on a little cheat sheet, a one-pager, you would be able to be super effective in honing in and understanding what the client looks for. Question-based will always outperform statement-based because you're tuning into the client even more effectively. Enjoy the discussion.